Thank you for a very interesting introduction. Thank you, Anil, for really setting the context of, I think, what we are facing as a streaming industry. Thanks, panelists. Thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to a very exciting discussion. So we are going to be talking about, the growth, and now what's going to be staying here is hybrid monetization in the streaming category. So the days of SVOD or AVOD are now definitely behind us. But before I start and before I get opening comments from all of you, I just want to set context. So when we talk about the digital category, we are talking about a category that gets a revenue of almost 74,000 crore. Now, what's interesting is that 88% of this revenue is coming via advertising. 12% of this comes via subscription. And when I zoom into this 88%, 72% of this revenue is being sucked out by search and social. And what's coming to OTT is about 9%, and this is excluding YouTube, but it definitely includes sports. So, and we know that a large chunk of revenue goes to sports. And at the same time, when we look at Ormax's OTT audience report, we size the OTT audience in India as of 2025. We are looking at an Indian population of almost 601 million who consume digital videos. But what's interesting is 72% of these, which is almost 430 million, don't pay for content in any form. So we're talking about a big size of an audience. We're talking of an audience who's not willing to pay. And at the same time, we're also talking about a country where microdramas, we've just heard about them, are coming up. And based on our estimates, we're looking at almost 73 million Indian audiences who are already onto microdramas. So in this context where you want people to pay, but they're not going to pay, but new monetization models are coming in, and I feel it's really now a content versus a tech company model that's coming in, the way the monetizations are being done. So what I want to do is I just want to start with each one of you from your, in a way, opening thoughts. And Ranjana, I'd like to start with you. Sony Live, of course, has, adopted hybrid monetization for a while and very successfully at that. If I were to ask you, from your perspective, what are the kind of hybrid monetization models that are giving you exponential growth? And why do you think that's happening? And where are you seeing this progress from here on in, say, at least the next 1 year?
Thanks, Keerat. Thank you for having me, first of all. I'll take a step back from those really large numbers of, where OTT really is today. While, of course, there's search and there is social, and, they have a certain kind of, benefit to offer to the advertisers. Samir said something very, nice recently, and it really stayed with me. And he said, 10 years of streaming writing, we have to completely change the way we write for ad breaks now. And in the television world, we wrote a certain way. And what that technically means for the ad world is that advertising in OTT and curated form of storytelling isn't really a disruption. It's almost a part of our storytelling because you're literally designing the story for that. As Sony Live, we have been very classic believers of that. So we've always believed that we're a content company first, tech company later. We will use all kind of distribution channels available to us to take our content to the larger masses and monetize it in the best possible form. So in the last 5 years in 2.0, we've sort of never looked at our business as isolation at all. Whether we are SVOD, whether we are AVOD, should we put some bit of our content on YouTube? There is a lot that we have done. If you have to really put in high quality curated content to your user who comes in and pays you on an annual basis, you have to do justice to them and you have to make sure that it's worth their time to come in and do some bit of binge watching with you and then some bit of, every day coming in and watching some bit of content with you. To make it viable, I think what's important for us at least, and for each platform, they will have to find their uniqueness. I firmly believe for the ad-supported models and subscription-supported models, not that one has worked for one and the same model is going to work for another one. Sports is always tactical. If you ask me, The sports users, unless you're invested for a long time. We are invested in tennis for a long time. Sports is a very, unique part of our strategy, and we use it very uniquely also. We want it to remain profitable for us at all times. That's extremely important to us. So while, of course, great to have tactical stuff and, some amount of cricket that really comes our way, it's a duopoly market anyways. And we monetize it to the best of our, ability. But what has really worked for us is our sustained business, which is, the large-scale reality show programming for a longer period, that we do, or the really high-quality cerebral content that we really put out, whether it's Maharani, whether it's, Hunt, or it's Scam, and so many other things. And even if you see the choices of films that we have made are largely to the high-quality curated so far. Of course, we'll all have to evolve. I know there's this, I think twice here I heard Anil said that once, and I think that metros are saturated. Honestly, we're just starting. If you ask me, we're just starting. I think we're just scratching the surface. CTV has just begun to see its real merit, okay? We've been talking about it for 4-5 years. I think only in the last 18 months, I see a major shift from traditional advertisers, new age advertisers, retail, mass, no matter what kind of advertiser you are, today CTV is an unskippable part of your plan, and there we are just starting. Of course, on mobile, you have a variety of options to use when it comes to efficiency in terms of your advertising campaigns. But today, in a very unique way, I think what advertisers also understand it, what works and what doesn't work. There is a lot of inventory available. There is a lot of option available for you to put out your ad campaign. But nobody has unlimited budgets. Neither do people have need for that much of market reach, if you ask me. As a singular platform, I may have 600 million people. But when you break down those 600 million people, what those 600 million people are made of, what is the quality of this audience? How much time are they spending with me? What kind of device are they using? I think all of these are very important questions. I know in digital they sort of really, limit it down to saying, okay, it's audience, and we do this all the time. But I think there's a bit more deeper thinking really required when a user really comes to you. And I think environment always matters. I always say this to most of our large advertisers. कि जब आप अपना शोरूम खोलते हैं तो रियल एस्टेट काफ़ी मैटर करता है ना कि एम्पोरियो में जाएंगे या कौन से मॉल में आपका शोरूम होगा लोकेशन बहुत मैटर करता है सो व्हेन यू रियली डू योर एडवर्टाइजिंग इन व्हाट एनवायरनमेंट आर यू शोकेसिंग योर एड विल ऑलवेज मैटर एंड आई थिंक OTT has that ability and that opportunity to give you very safe environment to a large extent because we're classic content companies. We know how to really, make it brand safe. We've been doing it for years. I mean, we just completed 30 years. So we've been doing it for 30 years to really curate it, to make sure that it's all brand safe for users, for advertisers, for distributors. As families, you can just switch on Sony and you're safe, right? And the same goes for all, whether it's Star or ZTV and, the classic curated companies. So I think the ad monetization opportunities are there. And it's, of course, as Anil rightly said, there is a lot of work to be done. I don't think we can assume that we have arrived. Yes, everybody has taken notice of OTT as users, as viewers, but a lot of work needs to be done. We all need to look at, now our business has to further segment, turn into segments, right? So there is mobile, there is, of course, there is CTV, and then there is fast, and there are so many things that are happening. The same content, and that's pretty much what happened in our television business as well, will be consumed by users, at various times in certain forms, and we'll have to figure out what those monetization models are. Coming back to your question, because I requested you if I can just take a step back. What has really worked for us is the larger associative value that we have offered to our advertisers. Anybody who comes in Sony Live, I think the number one thing that we want to do for them is take the focus away from the impression. I think that's the number one thing we want to do for them. We want to, especially for our sponsors, we want to make them an integral part of our content. And then wherever our content travels, you travel with our content. So I think that's been a really good model that has worked for us. Also because of the kind of content we have. Brands want to be in our content. Now you look at KBC, you look at Shark Tank India, you look at MasterChef, our recent $1 million listing. Every time we try Indian Idol, every time we pick something, the number one thing we ask ourselves is that do our brands want to be there? Will our users watch it totally guilt-free? Will they watch it on CTV? Will there be co-viewing? Are we offering something unique to people which entertains you yet teaches you? I think as long as all of these are good ticks, there is great ad revenue waiting for everyone to pick up. Too much edgy content, I mean, it's great. It gets you a lot of user. But, once I was speaking to one of my friends from auto CMOs and we were discussing a certain show. And he said, a lot of users come, but I don't know whether I need those spikes. So I think that's a very interesting thing when it comes to ad revenue. I think there is a lot of interesting content that we are putting out and that larger associative value is genuinely really working for us.
Great, thank you so much, Ranjana. That's very, very enlightening. And I will come back to you on a few of the things that you mentioned. Saurabh, I'll move to you right now. At Shemaroo, you've got a legacy of traditional broadcasting and you've pivoted very beautifully across various distribution mediums. And I think Shemaroo is one of the brands that has put content out not just via various mediums like OTT or YouTube, maybe FAST as well, but you're also looking into content licensing so that your content reaches multiple audiences and you operate very strongly in certain language markets as well. So if I were to, just ask for your opening statements in terms of what does hybrid monetization mean for Shemaroo and how do you straddle between various monetization strategies for the various distribution platforms or even in terms of the content categories that you operate in?
Hi, welcome everyone. Just testing if this is working. So I would say as an organization, because of being there for 60 years and going through a lot of changes, obviously, which happens when you are, when you thrive for so long or you survive for so long in certain periods also, that is rule of business. We have gone through various models, right, from B2C to start with and also experimenting with a lot more now, given that there is a lot more fragmentation and consumer behaviors in different segments, which is helping everybody to experiment. We always believe like consumer monetization always follows consumer shifts. And it takes time, but models catch up with it. Now, obviously, I started my media career with OTT. And as Anil was saying, 10 years back, and 10 years back, there was this space we used to be very unsure about what is proposition and whether we are going to make certain kind of revenue. Then we used to look at television and we used to say, like, television people walk into client meetings and come back with 100 crores deal and we just go there and are selling impressions and there is not enough measurement, there is not enough currency, there is not enough belief in proposition. This year, and this is data, and data may be here or there sometimes, depending on how you slice it, but we were looking at certain data. This is the year where digital index obviously is bigger than traditional index, everybody knows. But this is a year where video advertising on digital will probably surpass television broadcast advertising, which establishes digital as a strong proposition for branding. So there was a time when performance digital was established 10 years back also, because big tech had established its proposition, or they had that credibility in the market. But we used to, at some point of time, a lot of people will resonate, struggle in digital to establish itself as a medium of branding on the scale which television used to provide. And nobody 10 years back would have said that this, like within 10 years, this is going to happen. Nobody 5 years back, probably just before COVID, could have projected, like even at the cost of self-harm in their businesses, even if given safe space, that some of the quick commerce platforms will aggregate more advertising revenues than some of the biggest broadcasting channels in the country. So this, when the shifts happen, monetization will follow, and then the business model will follow that over a period of time. What we are saying is AVOD, SVOD, we have had a lot of discussions on those, and both models are going to exist for sure. And YouTube in India has come and shown, and we can, and all AVOD is firmly successful in broadcasting in India. Digital also, AVOD actually has done really well in last 1 year in digital also, even if you take out the YouTube component of it. But what we also believe is, as we are maturing as an industry, and especially from the point of view of content creators, as like organizations which commission content or which put fresh content on OTTs and other probably traditional medium also, we are internationally, when we are maturing, we are looking at content rights as something more complex than what we used to see earlier. Earlier we used to commission shows, they used to get advertised very quickly on television because there was mass reach and aggregation of audience. Now because of so much fragmentation and segmentation and different distribution means available, probably we'll look at more complex breakdown of rights of content. So the content may be available in one market in AVOD, in another language in SVOD, depending on how the segments are. So all this, so lifetime of content and how to maximize its value is now emerging with industry maturing. So, and that's not only in India, it's internationally also. We also, what we see in this world is there's a lot more, while there's a lot of content creation which is being done on daily basis, unimaginable probably, we also see that there's a lot more partnership on contents. So one content may be available on one platform for a certain window and then move to another platform. So while even the biggest OTT platforms are creating far more fresher content than earlier, and you will see them in their annual reports and discussions. But at the same time, the licensing content which they are also putting is also growing in the percentage contribution on their platform. So a lot more sharing of this will happen. So a lot more distribution and monetization models will emerge beyond SVOD, AVOD, TVOD, and that's what we are experiencing right now. And I believe we are still in early days of even getting to that. But that happens with every new monetization model, or whenever consumer shifts so drastically. So yes, so not many people will know, and I have the benefit of being in tech at that point of time as a student. I remember Amazon was plummeted by Y2K completely, and their business model was highly questioned, and for many years they remained plummeted. But the business model was still sound. Yes, it's the consumer model proposition was valid. It took a year for them to to establish it at this level. And now we say that big tech is everywhere and it is taking a lot of ADEX. So it's for good reason and solid consumer propositions that's happening.
Thanks, Saurabh. Thank you so much. And thanks for doing a recap of the very drastic shifts that we've seen in uptake of technology. And you're right, I think 8-9 years back, this was unthinkable. I'd just like to move to you, Pratap. We've been discussing, and it was very interesting to know that you've been on the content licensing front for many years, and now you decided to get into your own OTT platform, Chana, we saw a glimpse of it also. But you continue to be an SVOD platform, and unlike what the trend is right now, where hybrid monetization is coming up, you have your own take in terms of why you choose to be SVOD, and I think that's something I'd like to hear along with also your opening thoughts.
See, hi, hello, everyone. See, what I feel, there's not a defined monetization platform for any kind of content. This is about reaching the audiences and showing them our content. How you reach it? Yes, you have to play the game. Like People who pay for the content, should have SVOD platform. People who don't want to pay for the content, you should have some content freely available on your platform, which they can watch. And if they like the content, if they want to pay, they can subscribe and buy the premium content, right? And not only these two, people are content owners are going to other mediums of monetizing their content also. Like they put their content on YouTube also. OTT platforms, let it be Shemaroo or anyone, they are putting their content on YouTube also. So the audience, जो उनके platform पे नहीं है, they can also go on those platforms where they are and consume their content, right? They again, not only YouTube, they syndicate the content to some other OTTs in international markets, to some other platforms by dubbing content and all these things, right? Like Korean content is coming to India, dubbed in Hindi, Chinese content coming to India, dubbed in Hindi. So these all are monetization model of the content. So just putting your content on your platform and just putting one model like I am SVOD, I am AVOD, I am TVOD, it's not going to work. Okay, you should, your content should reach every corner of the world. This is the perfect way of making money out of your content. Right? And as far as SVOD is concerned, मैं बोलता हूँ कि if you have exclusive content, good content, जो लोगों को देखना है, people will pay for it. Like आपने भी फिगर बताया था मुझे हमें कि how many people are on, what is the revenue percentage of SVOD?
Revenue percentage of SVOD?
Yeah.
Much lower, just about like subscription is around 12% of the.
12%.
Yeah, 70.
And AVOD is?
AVOD is around 65,000 crores, yeah.
So percentage, what is this?
That's around, so 88% is coming from AVOD,
but more from social.
More from social.
Yeah, but what is OTT then?
Just about 9%.
Minus sports?
With sports. Minus sports data is not available, it's primarily sports. So you would say almost 6 to 7% would be sports.
So 6% is AVOD and 12% is SVOD. So you can see the difference. Where people are making money. People are making money in SVOD. Between these two platforms, monetization model I'm talking. Now, SVOD का खासियत ये है कि you get the money on day one, on your table. Right? You get renewals also. But in AVOD platform, you don't get the money on first day of getting the user on board. You will get the money only when they consume the content. Every minute they consume the content, you get some AVOD advertisement money, right? Like after 2-3 minutes, you will show some ad. अगर वो बाद में skip कर गया, हट गया, आगे का पैसा गया. You would not get anything. But in SVOD, उसने पैसा दे दिया, अब वो देखे ना देखे, you got your money in your pocket. So this is monetization, right? And you get renewal also. Next 2-3 cycle तो customer देता ही देता है payment आपको. So एक bucket बन जाता है आपके पास revenue का, which will boost your confidence and all कि यार हमें पैसा आ रहा है. And day on day, if you keep promoting your content and on, तो cumulative जो amount आता है, which is very big amount. But AVOD में ना हर दिन कुआं खोदना, हर दिन पानी पीना है, right? हर second कुआं खोदना, हर second पानी पीना है, right? And when you are on SVOD, then you have some other way of monetization also, like you can do bundling of the OTT on bundling platforms, okay? Like Airtel है, Jio है, there you can, like 15 rupees, 20 rupees CPS per, you can bundle your OTT, and you can make money. But अगर आपका AVOD platform है, तो bundle नहीं होगा क्योंकि already free है. They will not take it. You can go and launch your service on mobile VAS in international markets. You can tie with telcos, but you should be SVOD platform. You should be behind the paywall for this. If a content is not behind the paywall, they will not entertain you because आपका content free में available है. Who will pay for the content? Right? So I believe कि एक hybrid होना चाहिए, थोड़ा content AVOD पे होना चाहिए और बाकी major content should be on SVOD. This is what I believe in. And AVOD पे काफ़ी खर्चे भी हैं. जितना revenue नहीं है उससे ज़्यादा खर्चे हैं उस पे. उसका logistic cost बहुत ज़्यादा है. उसको ad चलाने का जो खर्चा है वो बहुत बड़ा है, राइट? एंड उसके बाद फिर आपको CPM कितना लो है इंडिया में, 60 रुपये, 70 रुपये, 80 रुपये का CPM मिलता है, उसमें फिल रेट नहीं मिलता है। आपका 40%, सॉरी 50 to 60% इन्वेंट्री आप कैसे चलाता है विदाउट सर्विंग एनी एड्स? तो वेयर इज द मनी इन एडवर्ड? आई डोंट सी सम बिग OTTs were on AVOD, but they couldn't survive, right? LBD.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's interesting perspective when you're talking about standalone OTT platforms. There are different challenges that come in, and distribution, of course, becomes key. I know we have little time, but I still want, like, maybe, one odd questions from all of you. Ranjana, I want to pick up on something that you mentioned, which is pretty interesting. You did mention about, providing a safe space for your advertisers, and with the kind of expertise that content companies bring in, the kind of content that they can provide, will always challenge the kind of content that, maybe user-generated content brings in. But with the fact that a lot of money getting sucked into user-generated content, what's the unique selling proposition where an advertiser would be willing to come on and, of course, pay a premium for your content? And if I were to just give an example, I think what you did with Shark Tank pretty successfully, from linear and OTT, you went to OTT for 2 years and it's pretty successful. What's the kind of strategy that, Sony Live follows to be able to bring in premium from advertisers?
So our middle name is Agile. I think we always try and experiment as much as we can with our monetization strategies. We are never married to only a particular type. But I think definitely what we are really married to is that we want to put premium content, and we want to make sure that we are on top of that. So we want to make great, classy, premium content, which is for family viewing. Look, of course, there is a lot of money in user-generated content. No one's denying that. It is a very different cost structure versus the cost structure that companies that do high-quality curated content that we have. Are our challenges unique? Yeah. But we'll learn. We've just started out, Companies that are in social, companies that are in user-generated companies, big tech companies, have a different kind of advantage. I think digital for OTTs, and also because we are largely broadcast companies traditionally, it's evolving for us. I think we're also really learning every single day. We are hustling. Premium is already there, at least for, definitely for an OTT like Sony Live. And we're a huge believer that this premium will only go up. Because, when you make really relevant content to the advertiser, and the ad clutter is just so high. It's just insane amount of ad clutter, right? Because what happens is, if you have the ability to create unlimited inventory, then the ad clutter only goes up. Now, as a brand, how do I find my unique spot if I have something purposeful to tell? Any content maker that's going to stay focused on that will eventually drive premiums. Whether you look at tennis, whether you look at football, whether you look at any other new sports that are coming up, or for that matter, our reality show programming. Shark Tank, MasterChef, Million Dollar Listing, KBC, Indian Idol, in no particular order. Everybody, all our shows do a unique job, and all of them drive premium because they do a unique job. To stay focused on that unique job, yes, you need a lot of hustle, you need to really work hard. I think every department needs to work hard. We know very well that, every time you decide to go a little more edgy, a little more, you will get that little delta in the audience, to be honest, and through which you can make your content maybe a little more economic and affordable to the advertisers. But, in our case, every time we've gone to our advertisers and we've asked that question, I think everybody seems to be, it's almost like a community of advertisers and us together. We all believe, ye theek hai. This is okay. And I think as long as that belief stays, as Sony, our strategy is really there. We want to stay in that community of advertising brands, and we have amazing relationships across advertisers and the agencies to give us the confidence that so far we are good. Of course, we all have to evolve. Every 2 years, 18 months, you'll have to relook at your strategy. The world is just so dynamic. And I think as he rightly pointed out, that great time to look for unique partners, you know, people where you have good brand synergies. Can we offer something unique to our advertisers? Can we do something new for them? I think those are good questions to ask yourself. But as far as we are concerned, high quality content, great content, context advertising, associative value, go to advertising, you know, I see this nowadays really uniquely so that every show that comes should appeal to 500 advertisers. Not really. You make a good show with good clarity that you're looking for 100 advertisers. As your market outreach, it actually caps at 100. And within that 100, you will find the 15% success rate. And that's great success rate in B2B business. If you are so unique that the advertiser will come to you, and I think then you have a winning strategy, you know. So I think we've focused on that, and whether it's in our subscription business, and I think that's very visible in our strategy in our subscription business as well, or in our you know, ad business. But we are evolving. I always say this in OTT business: stay agile, stay disruptive, keep learning, keep hustling. There is really no set formula for anything.
So, you know, there's another monetization model which is available, which is branded content, which provides a fantastic leg for you all to add value to advertisers. How much of the thinking is going in that direction as far as the standalone platforms are concerned and the broadcaster-led platforms are concerned in terms of digital side?
Sorry, who are you addressing to?
Both standalone platforms like Chana and broadcaster-led streaming platforms like Sony Live and to Shemaroo.
No, this branded content is always good and it gives a boost to our content. We get some money from the advertiser before the production itself, so we can make good content. And yeah, it really helps us.
Yeah, so how much of your, let's say, revenue, is it 20% of your revenue on branded content which is coming in, or?
No, we just did 2 shows with branded content yet. We have yet to do more.
So you still haven't exploited that? There's a good...
Yes. But it's a roadmap and we will doing this soon.
Ranjana?
So, you know, we approach the whole branded content slightly differently. Of course, brands are most welcome to, you know, give us briefs and we'll see where we can fit it in. Also, it has to match the whole brand synergy between the brand and us. But if you look at the larger content slate of Sony Live, right? Every time we make something, that's especially for our advertising revenue, that is really the lens. What is Shark Tank India? Shark Tank India is the most unique platform for such large number of people. Startup community, which is in the form of sharks, the ones who are new, upcoming, established. The entire pitcher community that wants to come in and pitch new ideas, and our sponsors. I think it's the most beautiful format available for brands to do branded content. Essentially, we approach our content when it comes to reality show programming slightly from that sense. We try and think that which are those 20 advertisers. And like I said, look at the 100 advertisers, market outreach, 15% success rate, and you know the show will be profitable. And I think as long as we can find those unique ideas, it pretty much almost marries the two in a certain sense. Yes, of course, there could be a certain beverage brand or a skincare brand or a personal care brand that wants to build content. If you ask me, I'm a little more native about that. I always believe that branded content needs to come with a certain purpose. If the brand has found that purpose and if we found that purpose, then we should do it with a certain amount of honesty for it to really touch the audience. Otherwise, you know, you'll make it, it'll be great revenue for us, some amount of expenditure for them, and I don't know whether it'll really resonate with the audience. And we all know about so many such initiatives. A KBC stands for 25 years and still does the same job every year for almost close to 40-45 brands that come in between TV and Sony Live and integrate themselves beautifully for branded content. And it's a 100-episode storytelling. I think to create something at that quality is so expensive for a brand that I don't know if the matrix really works. But if there are certain number of brands who want to do this, yes, of course, we are always most welcoming.
And how do you deal with copycat branded ideas like idea bars has come in now?
No, we welcome them. We see it as a form of flattery. Thank you very much.
Okay, but doesn't that erode your advertiser base in a way? Or that expands the advertiser base?
Not really. India is a very large market. I mean, not at all. Not at all. There is space. There's space for us itself to do another business show if we want to. We just have to find like a unique spot. But market is very large. There's no concern.
Saurabh?
So there is some content which renders itself through brand, that like brands coming in the content more seamlessly. I think what she was saying made a lot of sense. So those are the formats where you can actually do it and make sense to the consumer as well, and add value to the brand. There are formats in which it would be tougher to do, or sometimes it is forced. It looks forced and it may not work for the brand, or even if it works short term for the revenues of the platform. So for example, we are on OTT. Shemaroo is largely a SVOD platform. We have introduced AVOD this year in terms of pack availability, but obviously we get a certain set of advertisers who focus on Gujarati market, and they would want to do it. We still try and find the sweet spot. I'm not saying we have found that, far from that, on how to get them integrated without without being interruptive, and also it should make sense for them as well. But what I think about this at a larger level is more and more consumers are paying to get out of ad insertions at some, while that will keep on happening. So the way to brands will probably look at branded content or content where brands come in the content in a different way, and work with content creators and platforms more in a more integrated manner, co-create content which can work for them. Because I'm sure, I don't have data, but a lot of people would have paid $6.99 more on PVD to get rid of some ads. And a lot of our consumption is happening without ad insertion. So that word where mass advertising was simpler in a truncated period of time will get challenged, and brand integrations will become more and more valuable, or branded content will become more valuable, for sure. But when we are deciding as a consumer proposition, obviously we don't compromise content narrative to at any point of time. That's also true because we have to be true to that.
Thank you so much.
You're right. Narrative should be integrated good with the brand actually, right? It should not go off completely. Brand is going somewhere else, story is going somewhere else.
I think we're running out of time. So first of all, thank you very much, all of you. And I think I'd just like to sum up what the three of them said. We're taking back a few things. One, for brands, content creators, I think the whole concept of brand equity is something that's not lost, especially from an advertiser spend perspective, and that's where you're able to bring in premium. And what was very interesting with what Saurabh mentioned was that monetization is now going to go beyond just advertiser revenue. We are not just looking at that, we're also looking at licensing and distribution for the same content across various formats, and seeing, trying to get different revenues out of that. And Pratap, thanks a lot for sharing your perspective. I think the challenges for standalone OTT platforms will be different, but I'm sure you're going to get in a lot of competition from micro dramas, and I will be looking at your platform to see how you're going to evolve your monetization strategies, learning from how these tech companies are going about it. So thank you so much. Thanks, Anil, for your questions as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Thank you.